proceeding.
Okay. I'll tell you off the air. We're on the air.
Great, thank you. Okay, opening up the regular meeting of the Planning Board for Long Hill Township. This is January 27th, 2026. It is 7:31, according to the clock on the wall. If you wouldn't mind, please, Madame Secretary, could you read our announcements?
Happy to. Number one, call to order and statement of compliance. Adequate notice of this meeting or hearing has been provided by posting a copy of the public meeting and hearing dates on the municipal bulletin board and website, and by sending a copy to the Echo Sentinel newspaper, and by filing a copy with the municipal clerk. Number two, standard board procedures. Any meeting or hearing conducted by the board is a quasi-judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial meeting or hearing must be maintained at all times. Number three, electronic devices. All in attendance are asked to mute cell phones or any electronic devices as to not interrupt the proceedings. Number four, Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next can't do the oath of office at this moment for Mayor Guy Pacercia, so we will do the roll call. Mayor is currently absent, or I think he's supposed to be coming, right, Scott?
That's the rumor.
Yep, okay. Ms. Still?
Present.
Committeeman Lavender?
Present.
Mr. Hands?
Here.
Mr. Lavarerio?
Here.
Ms. Ogins? Here. Mr. Opalka?
Here.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Present.
Chairman Richardson?
Here.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, first up then on our agenda are some resolutions, some board resolutions. The first one is a revised resolution 2026-05-PB. Let me just read what this is about. The board will appoint an engineering firm, professional engineer, for specific services pertaining to application number 19-13P. This is Prism Millington LLC, major site plan located at 50 Division Avenue, Millington, New Jersey, to include resolution compliance and any further related matters for this application on behalf of the planning board through the completion of application number 19-13P.
And just for the record, for everyone, if you were confused or didn't read my email, the, this particular resolution and the next one that the next revised is because I had them at the incorrect rate for 2026. That was my mistake for the reorg meeting. So we would need a motion and a second and a roll call vote to appoint the firm, which is here.
Brightview Engineering.
Yes.
For that purpose.
It's so moved. Second.
Committeeman Lavender.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones.
Yes.
Mayor Pacercia.
Oh, we have to
Then you
swear
swear
mayors.
me.
Oh, he can't vote until he's sworn in?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
And
So you can wait till the next one. We'll swear you in between. Ms. Dill.
Yes.
Mr. Hands.
Yes.
Mr. Lavarerio.
Yes.
Ms. Ogins.
Yes.
Mr. Opalka.
Yes.
And Chairman Richardson.
Yes,
Motion carries.
excellent. Let's circle back and get our mayor sworn in.
Yeah.
Welcome, Mr. Mayor.
Sorry for being late. There was a lot of traffic.
Mayor, if you can please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I,
I, Guy Pacercia,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States and in this state,
in the United States and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of Planning Board Class 1 member
of Planning Board Class 1 member
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my abilities,
and that I will not use my office
and that I will not use my office
to grant preferential treatment,
to grant preferential treatment,
nor to seek personal gain,
nor to seek personal gain,
favor, or advantage
favor, or advantage
not available to the general public.
not available to the general public.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Well done.
You can swear me in any time, because whenever anybody ever does that, they always read a
You're
full
too long.
sentence, and you're like,
Much easier.
thank you.
Very good.
I noticed you cut her off pretty quick to just make sure she gave you short pieces too. So
I was
That was a good
hoping.
move.
That's right, in the beginning, I got for sure.
You set the tone. It's the right thing to do.
Exactly. Okay, moving right along, we have another revised resolution. This is Resolution 2026-06-PB. This is the board will appoint a traffic engineer as well as an alternate planning and engineering firm in such case that traffic expert engineer is required to review a site plan or subdivision application, and if the board professionals have a conflict of interest with any specific application for development. Now this, the background on this, because I thought we voted on this last time, this
We
was
did again,
revised.
same firm,
Same firm, we had to revise it,
revised, because I did not have the 2026 rate correct.
correct?
And I did, and Mr.
Update the
Leverer.
location.
Right, and Mr. Leverario pointed out the location. I confirmed with them. Both locations were correct, but they said just use the Roseland, the Rose, did I use Roseland?
Yeah,
Roseland.
Roseland.
it's Clarn.
Roseland. So that's what's reflected, will be reflected in their contracts. And just another point, we will be using the traffic, well, assuming that this board sees some of the applications we're expecting to see this year, the traffic engineer will be used.
Okay, very good.
So Deb, the rate is 170 or 180?
180.
Did you get a pay raise as well, Yolanta?
Nothing goes.
Did you get a pay raise as well?
I did. So thank you. I appreciate it very much.
I make a motion to accept revised resolution 2026-06-PB.
Second.
Committeeman Lavender.
Yes.
Mr. Hands.
Yes.
Mayor Pasercha.
Yes.
Ms. Dill. Mr. Laverario.
Yes.
Ms. Ojins.
Yes.
Mr. Opalka.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones.
Yes.
Chairman Richardson.
Yes,
Motion carries.
excellent.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, next item is our meeting minutes. Thank you very much for being very prompt.
Told you, I'm not
We're
getting
gonna
it
keep
behind
up.
again.
Keep up, thank
Been up
you.
this year.
For January 13th, 2026. If you could take a quick look at those if you have not seen them,
That's fine.
and offer any comments or questions, be appreciated.
Do you want to move in 9, Deb? Under 9, numbers 5 and 6, since they were not?
Well, technically, we did approve them.
And now
So,
and now we're doing a revise.
And
correct.
Okay,
So in tonight's minutes, for next time, will reflected that we revised it.
great.
So it's okay to leave, correct?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Okay.
yes.
You got me till 2029?
Yeah.
Oh, don't be so excited.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank the mayor and your committeemen. Mhm.
yeah. You broke
I
up.
promise we'll double your salary.
Double lot?
Right.
I'm fine with it.
Any comments, questions? Okay. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. Next up is a resolution. This is the Freddie Espinoza Indigna Barba. This is application number 25-19P.
So I would think that, I don't know, if Ms. Ojins, if you'd like to make a comment, and Mr.
Yep.
Hands, they both sent Chris Sobieski some questions and/or comments with regard to the resolution, and I think that they were all clarified, correct?
We got a response. I did. Yeah.
And you're satisfied?
No.
I said, okay.
All right, so if you look at the first height variance proposed for the dwelling on lot 12.01, page 6, item 11, sub-item V, or 5, where the architect, Ms. Palermo, said both proposed homes would now stand at a compliant height. No architectural plans illustrating the compliance have been received from Ms. Palermo, and the response that I got was that she, the architect, testified that the homes would be a compliant height, and that the applicant dropped their request for a height variance. So that's basically it. And yet, the response I got on the next page,
So there's no contention with that one, correct?
pardon?
You're good with the response on that one?
My comment was that the applicant should revise the architectural plans to ensure consistency with the site plans, because all we have before us are site plans that show a
The
variance.
issue was the height, but they said they would stay compliant with the height requirement, so.
It's
that-
strictly their word,
Yep.
yeah.
Well,
We-
it's not
we-
strictly their
No,
word,
it's been
because
kind
what
of-
happens
working on-
during resolution compliance, when
Yes.
those plans come into us, before a permit is issued, we confirm that it
Against the
comes in at
ordinances.
35. In addition to that, once the certificate of occupancy is issued,
Right.
at the end of the build, we also confirm. If they go over that height, they come back to the board.
Right, there,
Yeah.
So we do have
So we have checks and
insurances.
balances in place?
Correct.
Good, okay.
right. Because it had been such an item of rather hot discussion, I felt that it warranted being stated in the resolution. Something to the effect that, that this was going to be
I think it
in
does say
addition to
without
the other.
saying it, we're not giving a variance for them to
hang on a
exceed the
second.
height.
Right. In the
It-
beginning,
it
does- it
says
says they asked
other.
for it. No, does it?
27 says
Right.
it.
Yeah, I'll go through 27 in a second.
The response that I got when I asked Chris about the height variance and that we had on the zoning table in the application, still requested a variance. And his response was, again, the applicant has no choice but to comply with the height restrictions because they did get a height variance. And they didn't get a height
did not do a
variance.
We did not
So I
give
think
them
that's just a
variance.
misstatement.
I think it's
That's
a
a, that's a
misstatement.
misstatement. It's not stated like that in the
Okay.
resolution that.
So
we
I just
got.
wanted to clarify that, because that's the response that I got from Chris.
No, he must have misstated because, no, they have to come in compliance.
Okay, so
And
let's,
the plans that you saw,
I'll
if
tell
they
you what it
had
says now.
anything other, the compliance plans will be corrected.
okay, so let's
Paragraph
just
27
clear
says
that
that
up.
they-
And I can
They
give
not-
this to
They
you.
eliminated their request.
Correct.
That's correct. They've revised their request during the application, and then we captured that in the resolution. I
Yes.
think that should be sufficient.
Yes.
Right, so,
So,
Just-
Going forward, if it's helpful, because I usually do this in my resolutions, I have a section of relief requested, and then I have a section called relief granted, so that you can see automatically from the beginning. You don't have to dig through a resolution, so if that'll be helpful, that's
I
what's
think
going
that
to
would be
happen.
very helpful, because here it says, in the response that I got when I asked these questions, that they no longer needed a variance, and then it said, we did grant them a variance.
did.
So,
Right,
and I
right,
can give
which is a
this,
misstatement.
That's a typo.
Okay.
Gotta be.
It's a
all
typo.
right.
so,
But this is, the resolution is the important document, so let's just make sure that's accurate.
have you read
Which-
27?
Have you read,
Have you had a chance to read
you
27?
got the resolution?
Yeah, I read that, obviously I read it, that's why
You
I
okay with
made
No,
these
the old one.
comments.
That's the old one. This is a revised.
So let me just go
one.
through
Guys,
27.
we got a
That's-
couple of
that's-
conversations going on here. All right, Pam, you had the floor. Are you finished with your?
As, I think I'm looking at the most recent resolution.
It's the one I printed for tonight, that's on the desk.
We just got it.
Okay, so this is different from the one I was working on yesterday?
Yes.
Okay, so I admit to not having read this yet.
Yet nobody has, because I got it like an hour before the meeting.
Okay, so are we going to approve this resolution without
Let-
having
let-
ample time to read it?
Let me pick it up from that point if I
Yeah,
can.
because David can explain the rest.
Because
Okay.
this was, I went through this with Chris. So I had similar comments about the heights, and I think it's exactly right. My concern was that it was a very sensitive subject, because it actually came back because of it. And within the documents, there were inconsistencies. So that's what I presented to Chris. So back and forth. So ultimately, number 27, we suggested, or he suggested 27. So let me read it to you and see if this helps, Pam. Finally, the board notes that while there was a robust discussion with respect to the height of the dwelling that would be constructed on proposed lot 1201, the applicants ultimately eliminated their request for bulk variance relief to permit said dwelling to stand at an excessive height. So they removed their variance request.
Gotcha.
As such, neither proposed dwelling will be permitted to stand at a height greater than 35 feet unless the applicants obtain further variance relief from this board or Township Zoning Board of Adjustment. The board also notes that here that compliance with the ordinance's applicable building height requirement will be verified as the applicants will be required to submit revised plans demonstrating same condition as of this approval. So
It's a
that,
little
to
clearer.
me, sort of emphasised there was a discussion. They presented something, they withdrew it. They now have a fix at 35. If they want to do something else, they have to come back before the appropriate authorities. So I think I was okay with that paragraph, unless anybody disagrees with that. Well,
It clears it up.
is that okay from your perspective? It's good enough. Okay, good enough. Was there anything else that you changed in this
There
resolution?
was nothing else that, I mean, other than minor typos that I fixed.
So that 27 was the main piece that was added?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I was comfortable personally, so.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I got just a comment, nothing about this, just process. In the future, would it be helpful for us to get a markup version of these?
A
So
red
we-
line, so you
A
can see
red
it,
line,
yeah.
so we can actually see the changes,
Absolutely.
right? And and some sort of a header at the top that, you know, we know when we pick up a piece of paper, we're looking at tonight's version.
Document control is of the essence as you're getting
Yeah,
down to the end.
it just makes things move faster.
Yep. So we would then send out just a track change PDF along with the
Yeah, well.
the
you'll want-
resolution that we're voting on.
Right, you'll want him to
Right.
do that, yeah. Chris,
That's what we do,
Chris-
that's what we do for ordinances on the
Yep.
committee.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Chris did not do that for this particular circumstance, but,
understood,
which is fine.
Usually.
understood, and.
We can do it
and
for the future.
We are going to get so much better at getting these things out in advance, not hours before meetings.
Well, that's partly my fault, because I saw Deb today.
Well, no,
she
because
said,
he
"Did I
didn't,
see?"
I mean, I even followed up yesterday, and whether it's snow or otherwise, he didn't respond until
Right.
5 o'clock at night, so.
Yeah, and I didn't look at it this morning, so
Got it.
that was my bad.
Yep. All right, we'll blame it on Mr. Hands.
You can, I'll take this one.
We have a motion. We have a motion.
On which part?
So
Blame it on Mr. Hand.
That's the one, okay.
I'm good.
so I make a motion to accept the resolution as written.
Second,
Actually, you are not eligible, Mr. Richardson.
I didn't say second.
Oh, who said the second? Oh, Mr. Jones, I
as a
apologize.
ventriloquist.
There was one further correction that was made with square feet or square foot?
Yes, Mr. Lavarerio pointed out on page
Uh-oh.
3, under the third whereas, the property is a rectangular, approximately 76,392 square feet will be added,
Square foot. So with that change, you can
as
adopt.
amended, yeah, right.
Okay, so you're just putting square feet after the number.
Right, correct.
All right, so I'll revise my motion to accept the document as is with that change noted.
Great.
Second,
Okay. Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones,
yes.
Ms. Ogins,
Yes.
and Mr. Hands.
Yes,
Motion carries.
very
Thank
good.
you.
Well done.
Excellent.
Do you have enough votes to carry that?
Oh, you only need technically one on the
Okay,
resolution,
that's it. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
but yeah, those are all the 4 that are eligible.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is an ordinance discussion, is the agenda title. And I'd approach Yolanta to give us kind of a primer on some of the processes and some of the things, now that you're aboard, that both of you would like to see as some of our best management practices going forward, as well as just the overall process.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Of course. So the overarching theme of this discussion, I think, should be cost efficiency, because that is my goal. Making this as cost efficient as possible for the township, because it is the township that pays for these reviews to go on. And also ensuring that whatever we produce here is defensible, that it is accurate, so that we don't have to go on for long periods of time trying to get something in a correct format. So what I would like to propose to the board, and, you know, if you disagree with me, please let me know. I think to begin ordinance review, because I understand that it's stalled over the last, you know, couple of months, that perhaps the professionals should take the first stab at looking at the ordinance and coming up with their ideas about what is priority, because I understand that the board also has a priority list, which I haven't had an opportunity to really take a look at. Mr. Jones is shaking his head no, but he's shaking his head yes. So you do have a priority list.
Yes, I haven't
So-
sent it to you yet. That's the no, I haven't sent it, and yes, we have a priority.
Okay, very good, very good. So I haven't seen it, but
Reading the nods.
I don't know if Miss Laney's seen it or not, or Mr. Vooch, but I have spoken to Liz Laney. I spoke to her this morning, actually, about this, to get her take on it. And there are certain things that exist in the ordinance, and I know this because I used to work here so many years ago. So I remember this ordinance. There are certain things in the ordinance, in the, you know, not the ordinance as a whole, but just the land development section, that should probably be revised to bring it up to date. So there are things that the professionals are probably going to note that are a little bit out of date, that we can bring up. So what we're doing is we're not looking at it necessarily substantively. We're looking at it, you know, from a procedural point of view, and from a legal point of view, from the engineering and planning perspective, bringing it up to date. And then once we do that, and it's not going to take us a long time to do, we would sit down with the ordinance review committee and go over what the board's priorities are, so that we can put all of those priorities together and then start drafting ordinances. Once we do that, I think that the first stab at drafting these ordinances should go to the professionals, which means either Liz and me or Joe and me, because I'm gonna need them for planning and for engineering purposes. They're going to have to opine on a lot of this stuff. I can be the scrivener initially, and then they can help me. Liz also is going to write a lot of these things, just from a planning perspective, especially once we get into the zones. That's all planning. And Liz has a lot of experience doing that throughout the state of New Jersey. She does. So, you know, and I really look forward to working with her, actually. I didn't get a whole lot of time to work with her before
Right.
I left
There's
the
a
last
little
time.
you had a little overlap.
We had a little overlap, but not a lot. But I do know her work, and I know what she can do. And then we bring that to the ordinance review committee to get their take on policy and where we're going. Because the point of what the planning board is doing, because as you know, we have two governing body members sitting here. The way ordinances are generally adopted is they are, you know, they're written, nobody knows when or where or who does the writing, but they show up at a governing body meeting, they're introduced, and then a few weeks later, you know, after they've been published, there is a public hearing, and then they're adopted. Land use ordinances are a little bit different, in that when, after introduction at the governing body, they come back to the planning board. The planning board is required, according to the municipal land use law, to review the ordinance and to determine its consistency with the master plan. because the board is in charge of the master plan. And you just adopted a master plan, and you have done an incredible job. I went through the master plan today. I read it cover to cover, read it over the weekend. I think that you did a magnificent job. It's a great master plan. And the ordinances that we're going to be crafting, you are going to be ensuring that those ordinances are bringing that master plan to fruition, because you've already provided the vision. Now we're going to have to write it down. The best people to write that down, and I'm telling you, it's Liz Laney, and I can help, but she's really good at this. She wrote part of that master plan. I know she did. I know that she was involved in that process as well, at least over the last couple of years. And she knows, as a professional planner, how to bring your vision to life. Now, all we're going to be doing is bringing it to the ORC just to make sure that everything that's being written, because sometimes there are two ways to look at an issue. There are two ways to write an ordinance, sometimes three ways, sometimes more. So we want to get the ORC's take on what it is we're producing. So by the time we get it to the board and it goes to the governing body, to the township committee, it's in final form. Now, I must say that even whatever the planning board does, whatever the ORC does, the governing body, the township committee, still has every right to take a look at that ordinance, to make changes, to adopt it, to not adopt it, based on what their policy perspectives are as well. So, what we're doing here, it has to pass a couple of different tests. And the governing body test is one test, and then the master plan consistency test, that's another test. And then it goes to hearing before the public, that's yet another test. So I think that the way that this should work is, rather than trying to establish priorities in public, and with the entirety of the planning board, I think it becomes unmanageable. And I think we run into trouble, like, for example, we run into trouble where some of the documents that we may want to share, that I would take the position are deliberative. I don't want those documents, for someone to take the position that those documents are subject to Oprah, that they are public documents. I also don't want to have discussions in public regarding certain ordinances, because sometimes discussions start, go in a direction, I'll say, that people start discussing hypotheticals, which, nothing's happening right now.
Personal opinions.
There are personal opinions that are expressed, which is fine, but the problem happens in the future when that hypothetical becomes reality. And an application actually comes before the board. And it may be a controversial application or not. And if you have the board that's trying to get something from this applicant that potentially might even deny this application, you are having applicants and attorneys looking back on the public record to see what was stated. This has happened in other towns. I presided over something, a court case actually, in another town, in another county, that turned into just a big time waste and a big money waste for a town in litigation, because certain things that people said during planning board meetings and governing body meetings were then used against them in court. So I want to prevent that from happening as much as possible. And I want this process to be fruitful, to be quick, and to be as cost-effective as possible. I think drawing it out and having many meetings and having professionals sit through many meetings, you're paying us hourly. I think if we can get the work done up front quickly, turn it over to board members who are then going to review it, members of the ORC. This is a subcommittee. Nothing that they're doing is subject to Oprah, because it is deliberative and it is done behind closed doors, because they're not subject to the Open Public Meetings Act either. They're not required to give notice or to appear in public or to have public discussions. There's no voting that's happening. So this is something that we can do to protect the process and to make it go quickly. Because once you start, you start including all of these other things in the process, there's just more to go wrong.
Can I'd like to direct this comment to Guy,
Yes, please.
because this is sort of parallel to what you're talking about. I like what you're saying. Guy, we have 3 or 4, I would call them land use ordinances, that one committee man is sort of on a mission for us to adopt. Those are going to come to the planning board if they get off the ground. And they are controversial. Should we be taking those as subjects and referring those to the ordinance review committee just to opine on the big picture on these?
I would
Because we
think
could waste
so.
we could waste a ton of time on this and irritate a lot of people.
We can do that on other issues.
Yeah,
We
we're
don't need-
like experts at that, I know. But it's like, it's not something I'm
You
proud of.
don't need help, right?
Right. I would think so, because to Yolanda's point, I mean, the ordinance review committee could say whether it's in direct conflict to the master plan.
Right, some of these I think would be dead on arrival if we just simply sent them to the org and said, here's
Or
this
at least
idea.
then the planning board could come back and say, this
Yeah.
won't fly based on the master plan, so you might want to rethink sending it to us.
Or it will fly, and so continue, right?
Right.
Deliberation, you don't want to shut the process down, but at least
Exactly.
you get kind of a screening review. Does that make sense, Yolanda?
Oh, no, absolutely. And the governing body can do it either way. I mean, the governing body under the municipal land use law has the right to request of the planning board that the planning board review any land development ordinance that you want to send to it. And now the planning board has determined that they're going to have this ordinance review committee that's just going to be a specialized
Right.
group looking at this with the professionals. You know, I mean, land use is what we do, so why not?
Well, and so a lot of times what happens, these ideas come up, Jack Pigeon spends a lot of time crafting something. We go back and forth with this, a couple of meetings, 3 meetings go by, there's a lot of, the meter's running on all this. When we really could have just sent this down and said, here's the idea, give us an opinion on this. Because a lot of times, these things only come to the top of the queue because, like, a resident in one neighborhood complained, and someone thinks it, but there's not this great hue and cry to do anything about it.
But getting back to your original point, it would be nice to know what the parameters are as
Right.
we discuss it at the township committee. I hear what you're saying, we do have the ability and the authority to do certain things, but it would be nice to hear from the planning board what the goalposts are.
Yes.
And especially right now, because the planning board just adopted their master plan. The master plan's brand new, and we're approaching the ordinance in an omnibus kind of fashion. We're trying to revamp the whole thing and bring it into, 2026, because it's stuck a little bit, a couple of years before 2026.
And as wonderful as that master plan is, and there are some newer members I see here, the long and winding road to get to that
Oh,
masterful
yes.
master plan is a challenge.
It was a
Yes,
challenge.
yes.
Can I just make a couple of quick observations if I can? I like the idea personally of the township committee saying, here's a subject, bring it to the planning board first before you spend the time crafting the ordinance for us then to review the ordinance sort of after the fact. If that's appropriate legal avenue to take, I think it'd be
Run that by me again, David,
I think it's
in
a little bit, I
sequence.
think you're talking about a little bit more than a subject. I think you're talking about
Well,
like a
Guy,
specific proposal.
Scott is saying as the subject. You say, so let me just back up then. What we have seen are ordinance presented to the board, written by the township committee, right? Jack or whoever else, correct? We review it, opine, send it, for master plan conformance.
Consistency, right.
Consistency. So what I'm hearing, not going that, township committee doesn't get that far. Township committee comes first with the idea, here's a subject, they'd like the planning board to look at. We can then say, sounds good, or we can come back potentially and say, no, not a good idea, right? Just potential.
Or there may be an ordinance or something that addresses it already.
Right.
Right. Or we say, good idea, let us come back to you with the ordinance.
Right, and I'll give you an idea there, as Scott said, I think there are 4 items, maybe 5, but 4. One of the ones that I don't think is as controversial, but I don't know if it's a simple solution. The idea was floated, no overnight parking in any district
Right.
anywhere in town.
Right.
It sounds, I mean, I like, you know, it's prettier or more aesthetically pleasing, but is it practical?
Is that
And
land
is it
use
legal?
though, or is that?
That's about
police?
police, that sounds policing to me.
I don't think that's in land use,
No.
parking overnight.
Like,
Yeah, but
So-
That may be the, in the
Yeah, I
police
think
that's
powers
police,
I agree.
part of the ordinance.
But,
But there-
if
that would
it's-
be an example, granted it's not here,
right,
of something that, it sounds nice in theory.
right. So,
Practice,
so that's my
perhaps
point.
not.
I think that's my point. Anything to do with land use, perhaps as a thought, comes to the planning board first for our review, and then it goes back to you guys with an opinion.
Well, let's clarify. Anything from the township committee, and Scott has a great idea. I think it's great to send, if the township committee, because remember, ordinances can come directly from the planning board or directly from the township committee. These are things that are coming directly from the township committee. So Yolanta, correct me if I'm wrong. You're gonna send it to our ORC committee.
Correct.
The ORC is gonna say, okay, this is great, and then go back to the first reading. So once you do your first reading, wait,
Go ahead.
wait, because this is how it works for the T. So once it goes back to first reading, then it comes back to the entire
The
board.
entire board.
The entire board gets
For
it for
consistency.
master plan consistency, at
Yes.
which point, if there are members of the board that are not on the ORC and didn't see it initially, you can comment on it at that point. I mean,
Let me ask the question, then, who writes the draft ordinance? Would
well,
that
in
come from
this
the planning
case,
board?
Jack.
So this is what I'm trying to get.
Yes.
In this case, Jack.
Or he's sending down an existing ordinance for us to review.
If there's, again, Jack.
Right.
If it comes
He's
from the
either writing
TC,
it or
it's
he's
from
sending
Jack.
down something.
Or Jessica, depending on the type of the ordinance. Jessica Caldwell, who's the township planner. Now, if it comes from the planning board, the ordinance is going to be written by either Yolanta or Liz.
So procedurally, how does the ORC give the feedback to the township committee?
Tony, I just want to make sure your mic there, just,
If they have to share.
Sorry.
yeah, okay. Go ahead, say it again.
But procedurally, how does the ORC give whatever their recommendation or finding is to the township committee?
It's in the ordinance. It's whatever ordinance is produced that everyone is satisfied with. And my understanding is the procedure that Long Hill has been taking, and the way I remember it, it may have changed, is that once the ORC was finished with their ordinance, it came to the entirety of the planning board. It was a final draft that came to the planning board that was discussed at that point, because it was a final draft. And that draft was then forwarded to the township committee for their review.
Right.
And then the township committee, when they decided, if they decide to put it on an agenda and introduce it, then it goes on for first reading.
So I understand that part of it, but Scott brought up if there's topics or things that are township committee hotspots that may not have an ordinance, right? So it's kind of, it's a first question before the ordinance is even drafted is where I'm coming, what I mean, right? So if it's a topic that we don't have an ordinance of, is it worthwhile to write an ordinance is a question that's put in front of the ORC. And they don't have an ORC, they don't write the ordinance, right? They go back and they say, we think that we need one. How does that feedback process work? Because I understand what you're saying when there's an actual ordinance. What I'm trying to get from Scott's question is if it's a topic that doesn't have an ordinance.
Well, we have two governing body members sitting here on the planning board, and, you know, they are our direct liaisons between the governing body and the planning board. And if there's something that's happening on township committee that our governing body members would like to tell us, then the mayor and Committeeman Lavender can certainly bring that up here, and then the chairman can direct the ORC
Fine.
to go,
Got it.
you know,
Okay.
to go into committee and figure out, you know,
That-
answer the question. you
That's
know?
a step that I was missing. Because It sounded like it went from township committee to the ORC without the planning board in the
No,
middle.
no,
Was
no.
the way that it was described, what I heard, was that they could say, let's go right to the ORC, skip the planning board for the review. But
No.
it has to come here.
For
Chairman,
referral,
for a referral
but I
to-
would quickly refer it then to the
Okay.
org.
That's where I
deal
was
with it.
just getting.
And the only reason for that is because the board, while the board is empowered to make recommendations on ordinances to the township committee, they do that within the context and within their purview of master plan consistency review. So you can make those recommendations as a whole, as a board, but you do that within those parameters, when you are ensuring that it's consistent with the master plan, or you're writing a memo about why it's not consistent with the master plan, and you're sending it off to the governing body. In terms of how an ordinance comes about, many towns do it in many different ways. An ORC is just another way to do that.
So,
Is there, could I just ask a question? Is there any merit to also reversing this process as well? Is if we have a subject or an idea and a proposal that we're going to develop at the planning board, get that up to the township committee?
Well, you
So
have that, you have that already. It's
Okay.
the 81 ordinances that we have to update.
Okay, all right,
Right.
so we don't need necessarily a formal process there as we're developing in regards to the flow down to the, I'll say.
Can I,
down to
can
the
I,
planning board.
a good conversation, can I simplify it and you
Yeah.
nod yes or no? So Guy and I show up at these meetings, we'll come with something that was discussed at the township committee. You'll refer it to the org. What'll come back from the org could be a memo, could be an opinion, good idea, bad idea, consistent, not consistent, do not pass, go. We could write an ordinance, that could be one thing that comes back. We take it back to the township committee and we decide what to do next.
Yep.
That what to do next might be a memo back to you folks, go ahead and write the ordinance, or we abandon the idea, or we'll write it ourselves.
Sure.
Right.
Guys, that fit? And then this way, we're not, doing all this work at the top of the township committee and then finding out that, we spent a lot of money and it didn't go anywhere.
And
What-
that's,
Yeah, let me just play out one quick hypothetical. Could there be a response that we need more information?
Yeah, there could be.
Yeah, right. I
Yeah.
mean,
Of course.
As
I
long
was
as
just
there's,
saying,
as
human
long as there's this
nature is-
handshake of information.
Sure. And
And-
there can also be a response, during a master plan consistency review, that the board finds that it's absolutely not consistent with the master plan, but the governing body thinks it's important enough to pass that they do. They pass it anyway, with a supermajority and with a statement of reasons, and they're allowed to do that.
so just to recap it for a second. So the intention there, I think ultimately the intention is any land use ordinance fundamentally comes from the planning board, as opposed to what we get occasionally is coming from the township committee. Is that the general principle? Are we all good with that? And yes, there will be circumstances where you can, absolutely. But this way we save the time and effort, and not picking on Jack, but at the township committee level, we take the first draft, first review. Yeah, because we've had those miscommunications over the years between the two. So I think I'd much rather see this.
And Mr. Chair, could I add
Yes,
one thing
please.
to what Yolanda just said? While that is absolutely legally true, what you said, in the years that I've been on the township committee, and prior to that, I was on the planning board and Board of Adjustment before, it has never been that situation where the governing body has tried to jam something through.
Right.
We depend on this body for guidance, hence why Scott recommended what he did. It
Yep.
would be nice for you guys to opine. Now, we may come back and say, no, but we really like
Right.
it for
That's
these
fair.
reasons. Maybe let's tweak it a touch.
That's fair.
But it is true, the governing body could be dictatorial about it, and I've
course.
never seen it.
Of course, that is your right, and as long as you have good reasons for
What, how did
it.
you phrase it? With good reason, or is there was a phrase you used?
You need to pass it with a majority, with a supermajority.
Yeah, then you said with
With
reason
a-
or.
And with a statement of reasons.
Statement of reason, there it is.
Statement of reasons supporting your decision, why you're going to pass it despite it not being consistent with the master plan. But what the governing body is doing in this case right now makes a lot of sense, because the master plan is so new. This board worked on the master plan. Stands to reason that then this board is, it can help the governing body greatly.
To point, it would be nice if
In
everybody
help-
on the governing
yes.
body understood the master plan as intimately as the planning board does.
Right.
We don't, we're all.
And this
everybody- you have
process,
full-time
this
jobs, we
process
have
will
full-time
help
jobs.
that education
And the
go
truth
along.
is,
by
even though I
bubbling it
served on the
up.
planning board for, I think it was 5 years prior, and on the Board of Adjustment for 8 or 9 prior to that, my touch with the master plan, I haven't had it in 5 years.
Right.
You know, I'd like to admit to all of you that I've read it. I haven't.
We'll have quiz next time.
Well,
Make-
And we've got a YouTube video.
What did
to
Yolanda say?
help
She
you.
read the whole bloody master plan today. It was
course.
masterful.
I-
I'm not as quick a reader as
I'd like
Yolanda.
to
Yes.
contribute to closing out this topic with one final comment.
Here's a copy for you.
I probably should get that.
So there's narratives in the master plan that talk about the individuality and the character of all the different neighborhoods in the town. And oftentimes, we, on the governing body, we think about these ordinances as if the whole town is one neighborhood, and it's not. And that's a lot of value that can come back, right? When we talk about, you know, what people should be doing with their lawns and their driveways and right? That's the value that comes back, is all the work that you've done on the neighborhoods, the character, the history, Sterling as a workman's village, you know, whatever, right?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
No, good.
And that's really something that stands out in the master plan. And it's very unique, because I read master plans from towns all over the state. And, you know, this one, you know, it really is special because it really, it's tailored to Long Hill. And it encompasses the feeling, the Long Hill that I know, you know, that I used to work for, and I'm here again.
Right, you're hired. You can stay.
Before we really close the topic, did anybody else have any other comments?
My only comment back was just going back to you originally said, are we comfortable? It's time versus cost, right? The approach you're suggesting is cost. The way we do it is time. Are we okay with the way that it's been proposed? I mean, that's more of a township committee.
Well, I think
Question as well.
procedurally for this board, you know, since we did not appoint individuals on the org at the reorg, I think we need to do that this evening, unless
Yes.
the board disagrees with me. So that would be the first thing, is we reappoint 4 members. The second thing is, I think we need to discuss the possibility of an actual schedule. So we can, whether the committee is good with 2 times a month, once a month. You
I
know,
was going to ask you that.
yeah, we
What
could
is
do,
the cadence?
you know, Monday, I would prefer not on a Tuesday, because we have meetings on Tuesdays. But we could, you know, any day of the week, pick a time, afternoon, we could do a Zoom, we could do in person, whatever everybody's comfortable with. And at those scheduled meetings, you would have Yolanta, Liz, Joe, if he's needed, myself, and any of the members of the ORC committee. And if anybody can't make it on the committee for one given day, you know, we can still continue with the discussion, preparing something for the board. So, you know, I think we just keep it moving with including the professionals in every one of the meetings. That
Those
would be-
org meetings, they could just be Zoom meetings, right?
They could absolutely,
Yeah,
it just depends.
Doesn't make sense to pull people into a room and then
Sure.
pay
Right,
for
I know
travel.
that some
To
members
look at
like,
documents.
right, some members prefer in person, some, it's
It
totally
could
up
be
to the
both,
committee.
right.
Yeah.
It could be both.
So I have a question. If you have 4 people on the org, can you have alternates if there's an issue that we don't want to delay things because, you know, only 2 of the 4 people can show up? Or is that something that's done where
It's not
there's?
in my
no-
experience.
No,
No.
it shouldn't be, because we can't create a quorum.
Right.
Yeah, that I
Can't create
understand.
a quorum. And if we have alternates, you know, I mean, what are the rules? Are the alternates allowed to, you know, are they allowed to attend? Are they allowed to know what's happening? You know, I don't want a situation where we're creating, you know, we're creating
record.
a public body,
But-
because then we might as well just have a conversation
Can I,
in
can I
public.
just that point, 2 seconds, right? There's a difference between the master plan, chapters, elements, and so is any harm to say there's a land use org and there's an all other org? So you have maybe a historical, conservation, focused ordinances within that subcommittee and a land use within the other, just to avoid
I would
Essentially.
not, I do not recommend that.
No.
For the reason being, you're just gonna pigeonhole discussions and go down, I think, rabbit holes.
But then we'd be focusing
So, yes,
on a subject. And just to get everybody's
Right.
availability, just a suggestion.
Well, the focus is important, but I think, you know, when you're drafting an ordinance, it's not like a master plan. I think the focus of an ordinance is to make sure that the whole thing works. And there are many moving parts, and our job is to put all the moving parts together and make it move like a machine. If we start poking around with different parts, once we come back together to put it back together, it might not work. And
But
that's the issue.
in my mind, the most complicated, and Tom, you can chime in too, one of the most complicated areas of development of the ordinance is all of the implications
Yes.
that it creates, because it's a tangled web on many of these ordinances. And so there's implications,
Yes.
and that's where we're really in need of professionals
Yes.
to help us understand kind of the cause and effect of
Right.
what we're doing and what implications it impacts.
Right. None of the professionals are making policy at all. Whatever I write, whatever Liz writes, I will explain it to you. We're not going to do anything that is not crystal clear, and it's not what the ORC members or the board members believe that it should be. If there is an opinion that's needed about a policy consideration, we're gonna come back and we're gonna ask. We're not just gonna put in what we think. You know, if there's actually something that needs, you know, that's a subjective thing that we need to put into this ordinance, we're going to ask. We're not just going to use our judgment, because we don't live here. So we're gonna ask you. But the process, the safety net, making sure that things are consistent so that, so that there's no conflict, internal conflict within the ordinance, that's our job, to make sure that it works together.
So, just so we can move on, Tom, are you in a position this evening to announce who you would like to be? Because I'm looking to you as the captain of the ORC, or would you like to further consider some of the discussion and come back to us? It's your choice.
So I did last time we met, reached out to a couple of people here who, and asked them if they wanted to be part of, and they had said yes. So, if they still want to do it, yeah, I'm happy to take them on. I think that was, I had one extra position. I was going to ask my neighbor 2 doors down over here if she would like to join Teresa, if she would also like to join the ORC, and that would make 4, counting myself.
Okay.
There was Mr. Hands, it was just Mr. Laverario, getting there,
Every time?
and Teresa if she wanted to join. And that would be the 4.
Are you guys comfortable all committing to this?
Yeah, I know that we talked, Don, earlier
Yes.
last year, that like, last year took such a toll on, I think, the org with the inefficiencies that existed, so I'd love to serve in this role again, but I think we as a board need to like work on some of our
Right.
SOPs.
And I pledge from now, speaking from the board, that we will be empowering you and we will be trusting in the work that you do, so that we're not redoing work of the org, because that's where inefficiencies develop as well. You're anointed, you're gonna propose things, we're going to listen and respectfully have faith that you can help us get through this process efficiently.
Yeah, and I don't think
So.
it's that, like, I think the biggest thing was allowing every person in every meeting who, somebody maybe didn't attend this one, and then somebody didn't attend this one, and then somebody didn't, like, it's like there should just be one shot
Consistency.
for people to give their feedback, and if that feedback has to come via email, that's also fine. But I
Right.
don't think it should be like, we'll wait for whoever and then whoever and whoever. I think there were like several different members who just by absences, I just don't think
Right.
that's like an efficient way.
Yeah, preparation is absolutely critical, and that's on both sides, the board as well as the org, so that we can get
For
through the
sure.
process efficiently. We're volunteers, and that's, we know life gets in the way of our volunteer activities, no doubt, so it's difficult, but we really appreciate it. So is that now, you have your team in place?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Beautiful. Did
So
you
I
capture that?
I will send out an email to the team and include Yolanta and Liz and Joe and say, let's discuss a schedule and figure out times, dates, how many times, what we want to do, and we'll get started.
Great.
Can I just make one last comment, Tonka? I like the way Tom was handling it, look, that in the documentation and the organisation of what was being done. I would encourage you to
Oh, absolutely.
make sure you,
Well, I think you
will share
guys
that.
are-
that they have an idea of
Have a-
how Tom approached it. And
Have a-
A
yeah.
one-off conversation to talk about what was done and what we can leverage to bring
I
that forward.
I sent her one from, the last one I have was from 2024.
You did?
We
I
had one
sent-
last
Oh,
year,
I haven't
so
looked at
Yeah,
it.
I don't know if I didn't see one from
I'll
last year,
share
so,
the most
okay.
current stuff that we've had. and use those as examples.
So she
What
can
I
see the
shared with
format.
you today, and you forwarded on,
Yes.
that's part of it. I'll send the rest of it, so that way she has a whole front to back on what we were doing.
Yeah, I think once we have the framework of a plan, once we know what the priorities are, once the professionals are given the go-ahead to start building, you know, what's going to be the foundation of what the org is going to build upon, I think it will then become cost-effective.
I hope so.
Because it will be, because if, you know, if we have to go back and review and re-review, that's where the cost comes in, because
That's what was killing us
that's
last year.
extra hours.
Exactly.
Well,
Great.
just so the board knows, I'm gonna give them permission to do 2 updates soon to discuss. Fees.
Yeah.
And, now that we have the zone changes all completed, our bulk, what's called the bulk chart of requirements, which is, 131, section 131, has to be updated with that information. That's gotta be done like ASAP for zoning purposes. So, I'm gonna basically give you and Liz the go-ahead to like, okay, rewrite these ordinances and update it based on the ordinance change.
Those will be 2 good ones that aren't gonna require major substantive
Right.
changes.
Correct.
That should give us a good start.
100%,
Great.
100%.
Fees are easy, and I know that we redid that portion of the ordinance many years ago, but I know that they've changed.
Yeah.
So,
And I will, when I propose the fees, I will also give everybody, the board, the backup when we discuss it, so that you know that I've compared some towns, et cetera, et cetera.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to bring the discussion to a close without any other comment. I look forward to working, and I know the board is looking forward to moving this process along. Thank you, Mr. Jones, for keeping us going here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and
yeah.
and the body.
Great. Any old or other new business before this board? Anybody can think of? If not, then is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
In
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.